All right, Rangers fans, strap in because today's updates are nothing short of explosive, from costly mistakes to UEFA warnings, possible captain shakeups, and fresh rumours on the Ibrox hot seat. There's no holding back. Ever wondered how Rangers managed to burn through £6,800,000 on a player who's barely delivered? Or why Michael Stewart hits back at Alan Hutton after what he said about Rangers at Ibrox? And what's this talk of selling Tavernier and bringing in a brand new replacement? We'll also dive into why Clement's trying to keep the peace amidst some rocky signings and how Rangers' finances have caught UEFA's eye with serious repercussions on the horizon. Finally, could Derek McInnis be set to make his way back to Rangers and take the reins? Stay tuned. You won't want to miss a second of what's ahead, but first, to get daily Rangers news at your fingertips, just hit the notification bell. Right, so it seems Rangers went all in on this disastrous £6,800,000 gamble with Ben Davies, a lad who's done little but disappoint. He came in from Liverpool for a hefty £4 million thanks to Van Bronckhorst, who must have thought he'd struck gold. But the reality, the lad spent more time in the physio's room than on the pitch. And when he finally did make it out there, it was one inconsistent performance after another, including that shocking blunder against Celtic where he couldn't clear the ball, and it cost us dearly, a proper blow to our title hopes that season. Now get this, he was taking home a solid £27,000 a week, and more than Danilo. It's enough to make you pull your hair out, isn't it? And it doesn't end there. Clement had to clear house a bit this year, letting Roof, Barisic, Lundstrom, Jack, and McLaughlin go. This freed up around £83,000 a week on the wage bill, which, with any luck, can be reinvested in some real quality. But the frustration lingers as we're still footing the bill for Davies' wages even while he's out on loan, enough to drive any Rangers fan up the wall. So here's the question. Is it time to sell Davies for good and take the loss? Or should he get another shot to prove himself in Rangers colours? Right, so we've bagged a scrappy 1-0 win over Hearts, but it seems the talk is less about Dez's goal and more about whether Rangers actually looked any good on the day. Alan Hutton reckons we put in a solid first half shift, saying we played with good tempo and moved the ball quickly, but Michael Stewart's not having it. He clapped back, saying we only looked decent for about 15 minutes, and after that, Hearts took control. Called our side passive, he did, and suggested this lack of intensity has been a recurring problem all season. Bit harsh, don't you think? Now, if we go by the numbers, we had 4 shots on target compared to none from Hearts, but they somehow ended up with more possession, which you rarely see when visiting Rangers at home. And to top it off, Hearts nearly had one last chance at a free kick when Kieran Dowell blocked a shot with his arm, but the ref blew for full time instead. Even former FIFA ref Keith Hackett said the ref should have used a bit of common sense there and given the free kick. So here's the real question for you. Do you think Stewart's criticism is fair, or is he just out to give Rangers a hard time? Are we really lacking in intensity? Looks like Rangers might be planning a big shake-up with James Tavernier. Word is they're looking to part ways with him come the summer and even start the search for a replacement in January. Now, Tav's still under contract until 2026, but Rangers apparently reckon it's time to cash in while they can, especially after a few underwhelming performances this season that have got the higher-ups thinking maybe his best days in blue are behind him. It's a tricky one, though, because Tavernier's been with us nearly a decade now, almost 500 games, over 120 goals, and 130 assists. Not to mention lifting the league, the Scottish Cup, and the League Cup along the way. By any measure, he's a Rangers legend, but with age catching up at 33, the club might see this as the last window to sell him on for a bit of cash, especially with potential interest still hanging around from Saudi Arabia and Turkey. Thing is, even if the Rangers board wants to move quickly, a January exit seems a bit unrealistic given the thin squad Clement's got to work with and Tav's role as a leader in the dressing room. That said, the club's transfer team is already compiling a short list of potential replacements, but the usual financial tightrope at Rangers might mean any new face comes in the summer, not before. So here's the question to stir the pot. Is it time for Rangers to let go of Tav and make way for fresh legs, or should we hold on to the captain for a couple more years, even if his pace isn't what it used to be? So Chris Boyd's gone in hard on Rangers' summer signings, hasn't he? After that uninspiring 1-0 win over Hearts, he's taken the chance to call out the club's recruitment, suggesting it's been a bit of a dud. While Cyril Desair's early goal got us over the line, the fans weren't shy about showing their frustration. And fair play, we're still 9 points adrift of Celtic, and Aberdeen are breathing down our necks too. Boyd's not pulling any punches. He reckons fans have had enough of just looking at the scoreline. They're fed up with the performances that come along with it. He says Clement's been talking about progression and the team getting better as if they're still finding their feet. But come on, it's November. The new team excuse has expired, hasn't it? Boyd points out that several summer signings aren't even in the starting lineup regularly, which to him says they might not be up to scratch. And as for Clement, Boyd believes he's holding back from criticizing his players publicly, probably trying to keep the squad united without throwing anyone under the bus. He makes a fair point, though. If Clement's genuinely satisfied with what he's seeing on the pitch, that might be the biggest concern of all, Boyd says. He wants to believe there's a bit of positive spin going on here, but he's just not convinced. So here's a big one for you. Have our summer signings already flopped, or do you reckon they deserve more time to settle in and prove themselves? Right. Looks like Rangers have been given a bit of a slap on the wrist by UEFA over their finances, specifically the cost of player wages and amortization. Apparently, this is sitting at about 85% of our revenue, which is well above UEFA's target. They want that number down to 70% by the 2025-26 season. Dan Plumley, who's a bit of a boffin when it comes to football finance, says we need to get that number trimmed or we'll be feeling the pressure as UEFA tightens the purse strings. We've already posted a hefty operating loss of £17,200,000 for 2023, which isn't exactly great reading. There is a silver lining, though, with potential earnings of around £16,900,000 from the Europa League this season. But even with that cash, there's no guarantee we'll balance the books unless we're careful. And of course, the ultimate target is Champions League qualification, which Celtic have been miles ahead in securing, leaving us playing catch-up with shaky leadership at the boardroom level and Clement's side still lagging in the Premiership. It could get rather bleak on the financial front if things don't improve. So here's the kicker. Should Rangers focus on trimming down these financial costs and playing it safe, or is it worth taking a risk to bring in more quality for a proper run at the Champions League? Keith Jackson's stirring the pot by saying Derek McInnis could be the man for Rangers. Now, McInnis is currently at Kilmarnock, but after seeing how his side went toe-to-toe with Celtic, despite losing 2-0, Jackson's convinced he's got what it takes for the Ibrox job. He reckons it's borderline baffling there hasn't been a serious chat about McInnis stepping in. With Rangers 9 points off the top under Clement, fans are frustrated, no question. Jackson's got a point. He says we should be fielding a side that can truly challenge Celtic rather than hoping for a flash of brilliance or playing as if we're the underdogs at Parkhead. That's a bitter pill for fans who remember when we used to walk out expecting nothing less than a win. McInnis has proven he can pull off results on a smaller budget at Kilmarnock, so the idea is he'd know how to steady the ship and add some grit. He's also got that Scottish experience and knows the expectations at Rangers, all boxes ticked. The question now is whether the board's willing to make a bold move or stick it out with Clement and hope he can turn things around. So here's one for you. Would bringing in McInnis be the right call, or do we need a manager with fresh ideas from outside Scottish football? Comment below what you think about the news. Don't forget to leave a like on the video to help me out. I post videos every day talking about our Rangers, so if you're not subscribed, you're missing out on the latest news. See you soon.